Story 1. It was the summer of 2020, and at 22, I was crashing at my parents' place in rural Oregon. The dense woods behind our house had always been my playground. No trails, no signs, just endless firs and cedars swallowing everything. One sticky morning, I woke up restless and decided to disappear into them for the night. No real plan. I stuffed my backpack, told Mom I'd be camping out back, and headed out around 4 in the afternoon. After almost an hour of pushing through thick brush, I found a small clearing. The air smelled of warm pine resin and dry earth. I set up my tent, swept pine needles into a flat spot, and soon had a little fire going. As the sun bled orange behind the ridge, the forest felt peaceful. Crackling flames, soft wind in the branches, the sweet char of marshmallows I roasted for s'mores. Exactly the kind of quiet I'd been craving. Then the voice drifted in, a low male murmur, floating somewhere through the trees. It didn't sound close, but it didn't sound far either, like it was echoing off invisible walls. The shadows between the trunks were already thick and black. I sat frozen, ears straining. The muttering went on for 5 long minutes. Whoever it was wasn't walking past. They were lingering. My heart started hammering. These weren't public woods. No one should be out here. I cupped my hands and yelled, "Hello!" The voice cut off instantly. Dead silence pressed in, broken only by my own breathing. With maybe 30 minutes of light left, I decided I wasn't staying. I ripped the tent down, crammed everything into my pack, and plunged deeper into the forest. The sunlight vanished fast. 15 minutes later, half blind and sweating, I gave up and dropped my gear between a tight cluster of cedars. No clearing, just trunks crowding in like silent guards. I built another fire anyway. The new camp smelled of fresh split wood and smoke. I sat there for hours, letting the flames die down slowly. The night was cold now, the air sharp with pine and damp moss. I was finally starting to relax when I heard it. A single, deliberate crunch of leaves directly behind me, slightly to the left. My stomach dropped. I stared into the black wall of trees. Nothing moved. I called out again, voice cracking, no answer. Then a man stepped into the firelight, not from the direction of the sound, but from the opposite side. Mid-30s, dark jacket, calm smile. The faint smell of wet wool and forest floor came with him. He walked straight to the fire and sat down like he belonged there. "Didn't mean to startle you," he said, holding his palms to the warmth. His hands were streaked with dirt, like he'd been digging or crawling. I swallowed. "Who are you? This is my camp." "No," he said simply. "I don't think so." The words landed like stones. Silence stretched, broken only by the pop of embers. My mouth went dry. "Were you the one I heard talking earlier?" I asked. His face flattened. The friendly mask disappeared. "Must have been somebody else," he said in a cold, flat monotone. A sour, metallic smell hit me. Maybe sweat, maybe something worse. Carried on a sudden cold gust of wind that slapped my face. Then another crack behind me, louder. I whipped around. Nothing. When I looked back, his eyes locked on mine. Huge pupils swallowing the firelight. No warmth, no humanity. I exploded out of my seat and ran. Branches whipped my cheeks, stinging like fire. My boots slipped on wet needles. Lungs burned. Behind me, angry shouting, then pounding footsteps. The smell of damp moss and rotting leaves flooded my nose as I twisted through familiar thickets I'd known since childhood. I hit the old logging road, followed it home gasping. Mom called the sheriff. Next morning, we went back with deputies. The campsite was gone. No tent, no fire ring, no footprints. Nothing. That blank space scared me more than the chase itself. I haven't been back in those woods since. Story 2. In the summer of 2021, I rented one of the most remote decommissioned fire lookout towers in the Washington Cascades. The listing had almost no photos, just one blurry shot from the 80s showing a squat wooden cabin perched on a rocky ridge. I booked 4 nights. The trail was barely there. Overgrown, root tangled, brutal. I started at dawn. 5 hours of steep climbing later, the tower appeared in the distance. Small, weathered, raised maybe 12 feet off the ground, wrapped in a narrow catwalk. The view was unreal. Endless, jagged peaks fading into blue haze. The air up there was thin and cold, smelling of sun-baked granite and pine. Inside was empty, bare floorboards, tiny wood stove, no furniture. I didn't care. I cooked dinner on the ledge, watched the sun drop, then spread my sleeping bag on the creaking wooden floor. Around 40 minutes later, I heard footsteps climbing the outside stairs. Slow, heavy, each wooden step groaning under weight. The metal railing gave a faint metallic twang as a hand brushed it. I scrambled to the door. No lock, just a flimsy latch. A man stepped around the corner, late 40s, shoulder-length sandy hair, faded jacket. He didn't flinch when he saw me. "Nice spot for a few nights, huh?" he said, grinning, stepping inside without asking. The smell of old sweat and damp fabric followed him. My skin prickled. "Yeah, I've got it booked through Thursday," I said. "Plenty of room, though," he replied, still smiling. I lied. "Friends coming up soon. Sorry, we're full." The grin faded. He stared at me for a long second, then turned and walked back down the stairs. I noticed something wrong. No backpack, no gear at all. Just empty hands. I stayed awake another hour, staring into the dark forest below. Eventually, I crashed. Morning came. When I went down the stairs, a folded note was taped to the bottom railing. "Sorry." My stomach twisted. He'd come back, at night, while I slept 10 feet away. That night, I kept my battery lantern burning late. Around 1 a.m., I stepped down to the ground to take a leak. The air was freezing. My breath plumed white. I walked to the edge of the tree line. Something moved in the shadows, fast, just beyond the weak circle of light. A sharp smell of wet earth and animal musk hit me. I bolted back up the stairs. Every step creaked like it was screaming. Inside, I latched the door and paced. The tower felt like a fishbowl. Windows everywhere. No lock. Light making me visible while the forest stayed black. I started packing, stopping every 30 seconds to check the stairs. When I looked again, he was there, standing motionless at the bottom step, staring straight up through the railings. No pack, same height, same hair. Ice flooded my veins. Why come back? Why just stand there? For 2 full minutes, I watched him watch me. Then he stepped backward and melted into the dark. I waited 10 more minutes, grabbed my bag, and crept down the stairs. Every creak felt deafening. I slipped into the forest, knife open in my fist, moving by feel. 15 minutes later, the trail disappeared. I risked the lantern. I walked all night, legs shaking, ears straining for footsteps that never came. Dawn broke. I made it out. I keep thinking about the 4 nights I told him I booked. He had no reason to return unless he was planning to wait me out. I didn't stay the 3rd night. I still wonder what would have happened if I had. Story 3. In 2022, I drove from central Idaho up through British Columbia to Alaska, 2 months living out of my converted SUV. The Alaska highway was the dream. Wild, empty, beautiful. The only catch, no firearms allowed across the Canadian border. I usually kept a pistol under the seat. Not this time. First day was smooth, 8 hours of decent road. By dusk, I pulled into an unmarked gravel lot with a faint trail disappearing into the trees. No one around. I hung window shades, crawled into the back, and slept hard. Morning, I stepped out to stretch and followed the trail. 5 minutes in, I found another campsite. Tent half collapsed, claw marks on a cooler, gear ripped apart and scattered. Someone had left in a panic. I backed away fast. When I reached my car, a black pickup was parked nose to nose with my SUV. Tinted windows. Engine off. No one visible. My gut screamed danger. I jumped in, locked the doors, and peeled out. I drove 4 hours straight to the next gas station, a lonely two-pump place surrounded by mountains. I filled up slowly, admiring the views. Then I saw it, the same black truck rolling in. It pulled right up to the other side of the pump. My hands shook. They had to be getting gas. Everyone did on this road, but the timing felt wrong. I finished fast and left. Late afternoon, I found a hidden pullout. No fresh tracks, no trash. I cooked outside, watched the sunset, then climbed into the car for the night. Downloaded shows kept me company until 11. Then I heard footsteps, crisp, heavy, dry leaves and sticks snapping under boots. Definitely human. I killed the phone screen, heart slamming, slowly turned toward the passenger window. At first, I just saw my own reflection, pale, wide-eyed. Then the reflection changed. Something dark moved closer. A face appeared, slowly, deliberately. Chin first, then mouth. Lips pressed tight, then nose smashed flat against the glass so hard the tip turned white. Eyes wide open, whites gleaming in the faint moonlight, in the dim glow from inside the car. He stared straight into me, unblinking, pupils locked on mine. Small clouds of breath fogged the glass in slow rhythm. In, out, in, out. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I could smell faint cigarette smoke and sour sweat seeping through the rubber seal. The face just hovered there, studying me like I was something in a cage. Seconds stretched into forever. Then, gone, vanished into the black. A heartbeat later, crash. The rear side window exploded. Glass sprayed across my legs like sharp rain. Freezing night air rushed in, carrying pine, gasoline, and the smell of sweat. Heavy breathing right behind me. A thick arm reached through the broken window, fingers groping for the lock. I scrambled to the front seat. Keys slipped in my shaking hands. One of them pounded the driver's window. The other kept reaching inside. Ignition. Engine roared. I floored it. The car lurched forward, back door still flapping open. In the mirror, I caught the black truck hidden in the brush. They'd been there the whole time. I drove a mile, slammed the door shut, then tried to call emergency services. Spotty signal, no plate, no clear face. They were gone. I replaced the window in the next town and finished the drive to Alaska. The rest of the trip was stunning, but I never slept without every door locked tight again. I still don't let myself think about what they wanted.